Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in. Now, Tayden and I are headed out to a deep sea fishing trip. And it's an 8-hour trip. And after that trip, Tayden has soccer practice and I have basketball practice. But my basketball practice is probably gonna be about 2 hours away from where I'll be at with Tayden. So I'm gonna see if I can even make it. But wanted to touch on this right here when it comes to raising kids, something that I have seen and something I want you to understand. And I touched on this on a video before, so if this your second time hearing it, God bless you. Make sure you take action on this. But somebody just mentioned to me the other day too about how kids who travel more and see more and do more end up smarter than kids who don't. And I want you to think about that. Even like if you come from a small town or if you come from an inner city, and think about if you have like left the state to go to college or left the state or the country to go in the service or school or whatever. When you go to different states, you see people dress different, talk different, walk different, act different. You go to a different country, you see people live different, dress different, talk different, act different. So then it gives you a world view where you can see like an outfit in America and you see an outfit in Europe and you're like, oh, okay, I saw the same outfit in America, so this is a universal look. But then it's some outfits you will see in your city, in your county, that you won't see in the next city or county, you won't see in the next state, or you won't see in the next country. So then you realize, oh, okay, that is regional, local. And it's like blue weave, red weave, certain type of dresses, certain type of pants, certain way you sag your pants for men. And so it's things that we do that could be very local, and it localizes you. So now you become an adult and you go on a job interview and you're sitting in front of this CEO of this startup, this tech startup, and he or she has, visited 6 continents or 3 continents or 48 of the US states. And then you come in with this very localized print dress or jacket or what have you, and they looking at you like, okay, country bumpkin or inner city boo, and you end up being overlooked, and you don't have the vocabulary, you don't have the perspective, you don't have the worldview. And so that's what you have to do for your children, is you gotta create experiences or participate in experiences. And one of the things that it's just like, okay, we getting on a boat and we're gonna be on the boat and we're gonna be riding out, and this is for Tayden's friend, this is his trip and his birthday. But as a black man who never been on a boat, when I was Tayden's age as a kid, I could have said, no, we ain't getting out in that water. No, that water too big. That's that I don't play with God ocean. No, we ain't gonna be able to do that, son. I could have said no because of my limited worldview, because of my limited experiences. And that I notice a lot of people do that. Of all races and nationalities, limit their children because of the limits on them, because of their lack of experience, because of their fear. They will limit their children, and they will when you do that, you don't create agency in your child, and people are so afraid. And they, like, I was talking to a grandmother the other day, and even though she knows me, she knows her daughter, she's still, stuck in the trauma of her childhood and years ago, to where she doesn't want an adult man who is a coach. She doesn't feel it's inappropriate for an adult man who is a coach to reach out to a 17-year-old, player on the team, which that's a very standard thing. Like, my 17-year-old text his soccer coaches, the college coaches, and the club coaches who coach high school club ball. But here this woman is, she is so afraid of her grandson or a young man being groomed by an adult male, whereas a 17-year-old boy, he'll be 18. So he needs to know how to communicate. He needs to learn how to recognize red flags. He needs to learn how to speak up for himself. And he also is pretty much in his grown man body. I mean, he may still continue to grow, but he pretty much is, grown man body almost. And so we shelter our kids, and we don't let them experience. We don't let them reach. We don't let them stretch. We don't let them live, learn, fail. And that limits their success. And so I try to explain this, and a lot of people don't really understand it. But like, when I went to South Africa, we went to a restaurant one day, and they were eating what they called tripe, and they said it was cow intestine, and it did not look appetizing. I had never had cow intestine. I had had pig intestine, which is chitlin, and the chitlins, the way my grandmother would cook them, it wouldn't have a flavor or a smell or or like a taste to it. It would almost taste like vinegar and whatever, and it just was a chewy little vinegar thing with rice, and so, or hot sauce on it. If you eat hot sauce, I didn't really eat hot sauce growing up, and it didn't really have a taste. But now I ate this tripe, and I ate the tripe because I wanted to experience their culture, because we don't make tripe in my family in America. Cow intestine, we don't make that I've never been at any cookout or anything in Florida amongst black people where they had cow intestine, but pig intestine, yes. And so, which is disgusting to even say out loud. But my friend who was with me, he is from Barbados, and he would not try it. And I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna be taking you around the world with me if you're not gonna experience these people culture. That's disrespectful. It's like, they're human, they right in our face, they're living, they're breathing. So obviously this tripe has not killed them. They've ate it their whole life. It's not the end of the world, man. Stretch your mind. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And from that experience, from that day, he and I are the same age. I went on to become a millionaire, and he hasn't crossed 60,000 in earnings yet. And I believe, and not to down him or anything, but I believe there's a correlation of your mind produces what it can see and believe and conceive. And so you have to stretch your experiences. You have to stretch. So I don't eat sashimi, but I have tried sashimi. I don't eat sushi every week, but I have tried sushi. I don't eat oysters often, but I have tried oysters. I don't enjoy oysters. I don't enjoy sashimi. I don't enjoy, certain food, certain tartar. I don't enjoy those things, but I have tried it. And I've tried frog leg, I've tried alligator, I've had possum, raccoon, pig. I've tried it all. Now, I will not try a drug like marijuana or cocaine or what have you. I won't try a drug. But things that I know is not an addiction or what have you, I'll stretch. All kind of museums. When Tatum was 4 years old, and Tony was 11, we spent, I think it was $9,000 some for Tony to go experience soccer for 2 weeks in Rome, Italy. And then after that, we stayed another 4 weeks in Europe. And we went to Amsterdam, Barcelona, Paris, London, Ghent, Bruges, Belgium, like all these different places. And we saw the culture. We were in the inner city, like we was in the towns of Piemonte, Italy, where no one spoke English. And I had to point at pictures and use Google Translator to communicate with the locals, to even order food. It was an experience. It was frustrating and exhilarating all at the same time. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so this is scary, but it stretched me. Tatum was 4 years old. We came back home and we went to the movie. He could have been at this time, I don't know, still 4, 5, 6. We went to the movie and there's like a screensaver on the movie screen. And they show the Eiffel Tower. They show the Eiffel Tower. And Tatum's like, hey, we went there. And they showed the fountain. And he was like, hey, we went there. And I almost cried. Because I'm like, here go my baby boy, seen the other side of the world at 4 years old, and he remembers what it looks like. Like, I did not expect him to remember what it looked like. I was so shocked. I was like in tears. And although I was angry while I was in Europe, because I was maxing, and when I don't say angry, I don't mean literally, but it was some days I was like mad with my wife, because I'm like, why did you book so much stuff? Why did you make this trip so long? Like, child, how am I gonna pay for this? You know, I'm ready to get on a pole and start twerking over there, like, to make money. And I mean, every credit card I had was maxed out. I mean, I'm over there, I'm having to charge every card. I'm over there, I don't like mastermind groups. I had to create a new mastermind group. I'm like, I'm gonna have to just serve. I'm gonna have to just, commit to being accessible, because I don't like that kind of stuff. And I had to create a mastermind. I ain't charged, Myron Golden prices, but I just had to create. I had to use my gift, on the fly. I had to do what people have been asking me to do. Hey, Tony, can you open up your coaching sessions? Can you create a mastermind? Can you do a course on this? I had to do it all so that I could earn on the go in Europe to afford 6 weeks in Europe, which my wife say 8 weeks, and it could have been. I came back, people was like, where are y'all went? I say, it's a blur now, because I had to pay for it. And guess what? I would do it all over again. And I want to do it on that same budget, because we didn't have the money that we have today. My oldest is 17. He was 11 when we did this. So we didn't have the money. I was making 6 figures, but I wasn't making 7 figures. And the 6 figures didn't have me in the lap of luxury. And so, but I would do it all over again, because it was amazing. And it stretched me. stretched my life. And so do what you can do on the scale that you can do it. Like the city you live in may have a museum, a Black History Museum or whatever, and we need to start coming together too and doing Black History Museums to the best of our ability. You know, get you 10, 20 friends and y'all put y'all money together and do a Black History Museum, so that as they trying to remove it and make it extinct, we need to start to support. If you got a Black History Museum within a 4-hour radius of you, 4-hour drive of you, go to that museum and support it. You know, make a donation to it. If you could make a donation, even if it's just $2, $20, and let's try to keep those open, because, you know, certain individuals like Ron DeSantis in Florida and people like that, they want to do away with Black history. And so you got to try to keep that stuff open. But go to the museum, go to the state park, you know, go to the state park, pull up a video on chess, watch chess. You know, people was like, hey, I was telling people like, hey, my son's in chess club, robotics club, karate, soccer, baseball, basketball, football. I had them experience every single thing, and it was their mom as well. You know, it's her idea, a lot of this stuff, and I just went along with it. And people, and I remember one lady was like, Tony, you know all that stuff costs money. Yes, you know God gave you arms and legs and a brain. Go make money. Don't sit and make excuses. Make things happen. Do what you got to do. Or you got to work 2 jobs. You got to create a company on the side. You got to sell bean pies. You got to sell peach cobbler. Do what you got to do. And don't make excuses. Don't make sure your child have more than what you had growing up. Do what you got to do to earn what you got to earn, so your child could be what God called them to be. And don't get caught up. Oh no, you're gonna have the same life I had. You're gonna have the same limitations I had. You're gonna have the same warped, limited scarcity mindset that I grew up with. No, break that, change that, stretch, grow, be better, be different, do different. And this is what we have to do. Let our children stand on our shoulders. Your child should be able to reach higher, because your child should be able to stand on your shoulders, not under your feet. Don't destroy your child's life because of your fear, your trauma, your drama, your mama. Make sure your child is better than you, smarter than you. We put our kids in a private school because we knew in our area that education would be better. When we did that, we couldn't afford the school. We ended up getting about a 90% discount. Now, God has blessed us because we stretched. Because I had to stretch my mind to figure out a way to pay our half, and their grandmother was paying half, and then their grandmother could no longer pay half, so then I had to pay the full discounted amount. But because I had to stretch my mind, guess what? I had to learn how to earn more. I had to write more books. I had to do more courses. I had to do more coaching, do more ghostwriting, do more whatever it was. I had to do those things. And so I was doing those things, and it stretched me. And now not only do we pay full tuition, but we also donate to the school on top of the tuition. Was able to put up extra money to help them do new bathrooms at the high school a couple years ago. And bring in donations from my network, from my connections. And so I say that to say we started on the biggest financial aid package the school had, and now pay full tuition and donate. That's because the mind was stretched. Your mind can accomplish and achieve anything, so you gotta stretch your child mind. Like, if you got a car, at the least you could do is ride through the wealthiest part of your city. Let your child, and then if it's got a trail like a sidewalks, like we got an area where it's a lake or a body of water, and it's a sidewalk, and you can walk, people walk around it and exercise. But as walking down that sidewalk, you looking at $3 million, $5 million, $10 million houses. So me and my wife, we was walking there like last week. I think it was my birthday. We went on a walk there. And I'm looking at these houses, and them houses cost, you know, 5 times, whatever, 10 times our house, 3 times. And so that stretched my mind. I said, man, do I want to live out here one day? The answer was no. I decided if I can afford a house that expensive, I want to be on some land so my grandkids can play, get out there and play and have a soccer field or basketball court, what have you. But it still stretched my mind. Do that for your child, because your child may say, okay, I see that house, I like that house. I like that house better than our house. So I don't want to have our house. I want to have that house. And then they say, okay, how much that house costs? All right, boom, how much our house costs? Okay, boom. Okay, what kind of job I got to get? And then this is where it's on you, mom, dad, to not be negative Nancy and be like, nah, you can't do that. You're not gonna be able to afford no house like that. You just need to be humble, and you need to, ain't nothing wrong with the house we got. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Your house raggedy, and treat your house like it's raggedy, meaning don't make your house be average. Don't tell your child that your house is the goal and your house is the top. No, let your child know you can have a house 10 times better than our house. Okay, how I'm gonna do that? Well, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could start your own business, you could have your own hair salon, you can have your own whatever kind of company. Like, you start sitting with your child and start talking about and looking into and y'all talking about different ways to earn. You talking about, okay, this what this career earns, this what this career earns. So y'all talking about this, and now your child know, oh, okay, a surgeon make this much, okay, a business owner make this much. My oldest son asked my son, he was like, hey, he was like, Tatum, you gonna be famous one day? And he said, yeah. He's like, what you gonna do? And Tatum said, I'm gonna do YouTube and coaching calls like my daddy. And guess what? His daddy is a millionaire. So that's a different type of job. That's a different type of job. But if that's what he want to do, if he want to be a streamer, it's YouTubers, it's streamers who make millions. So I ain't gonna tell my son, no, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a surgeon if he want to be a streamer. So hey, we done got out here to the marina, pier, whatever you call it. So we gonna get on going. God bless you, and we'll talk soon.